Hey guys, good afternoon. This is the Metaphysical Babes. My name is Katty. Welcome. We're not here, as a coincidence in this physical realm. There are other realms that surround us and that exist inside of us. And they only teach you to focus on the physical realm here and the dense world here. And I like to talk about these other realms and how myself, I've been able to experiment with them as well as understand them and learn from others as well. And luckily, I'm from a culture that has, touched on a very forbidden realm, according to people, to others. It's quite interesting to see that realm for what it is, and instead of bringing your prejudice to it, but rather try to understand it. And that's what I try to do when I talk about voodoo. Anyways, in today's topic, I want to talk about a bit of technology, right, in manifestation. When they talk about AI is supposedly will take over humanity, in fact, AI was designed after humanity. It's a copy of who we are, our intelligence, our infinite intelligence, rather. It's a copy of everything that we are, and it mimics the human in such a profound way that you think it is smarter than you, but it isn't, and it cannot take over you because we designed it, so there's no way that it will take over unless you give it you give it that role, right? So what do I mean by talking about technology, the technology of manifestation? Just got me thinking about, when you're driving a car, cruise control, thought about GPS and algorithms and how all these things, they really mimic manifestation, or they mimic how we, or the subconscious, can establish everything for us. When you want to manifest your reality, it is almost like a self-driving car, an autopilot, right? A Tesla. Think of a Tesla. Today, I want to show you how cruise control and GPS are self-driving and algorithms aren't. They're not just about cars, but they are about the human brain. And, like I like to say, our infinite intelligence, and they are the blueprint for how you can manifest love, wealth, success in your own life, pretty much. And I have been experimenting with these thought forms, and I just want to share with you what I know and what I understand, and see if perhaps you want to apply them and see how they can work for you as well. Technology truly mirrors spiritual law, and this is why I want people to understand that there's nothing about artificial intelligence that is, higher, of a higher consciousness than the human consciousness. There's no such thing, because it is modeled after, human consciousness. It's just because it runs on a machine, so it goes faster. You know what I mean? So it's just what it is. Let's say that, you record your voice on a tape recorder, and if you 5x it, voice, the words and everything like that, and it sounds faster. So it's pretty much what, AI is. If you go on YouTube right now, you speed up my voice, this video, it'll go faster. So that's just, pretty much what it is. So we think technology is new, or tech is new, but it's actually a reflection of ancient principles. And many people on YouTube talk about this. Cars, autopilot, algorithms, they all show us how manifestation really works if we pay attention. Cruise control, I like to think of it as sustained energy. So if you get in your car, you're driving long distance. The other day I drove to Canada, and at some point the road was pretty much empty, and the speed limit was about, 65, and I wanted to rest my foot a little bit, and I decided I'm going to put it on cruise control, and it was a pretty much straight road, so that's what I did. I set it to 65, and I was on cruise control. Forgive the train. So once you set the speed, like I said, right, your belief, which is also your vibration, your belief is tied to your vibration. If you believe, an example, that abundance exists, you are on the vibration of abundance. So understand that your belief is tied to your vibration. Belief equals vibration, okay? You don't have to keep pressing the pedal. And this is what I decided to do when I put my car on cruise control. I don't want to keep pressing the pedal. I want to rest my foot here. So when you decide on a belief, like I believe that money comes to me, or I can find money anywhere, right? Walking down the street, I'll find money on the street, right? So if this is your belief, you set that vibration and you lock it in like cruise control. You set the speed to 65, right? The speed limit to 65, and you rest your pedal. You rest your foot. You get your foot off the pedal, you rest. You go on cruise control. And this is what you keep driving on, right? Because you know that the belief or the vibration is that you find money on the street. Everywhere you look, there's money right there, right? So this is how it ties to manifestation. When you set your frequency to wealth, love, and peace and stay consistent, the momentum carries you forward. So the problem is that when we keep turning it on and off with doubt, then it doesn't stay there, right? So you stop and you start your goal every time, you're never gonna get to the destination. So I've experienced with that. I know this for a fact. I would start on my weight loss journey, and then I will stop because for whatever reason. So can I ever get to that destination of my end goal, of my weight goal? Not really. It's not going to happen because I would stop every time and then start over. So you're in a continuous loop of starting over. But if you decide to stay on cruise control, no matter what happens, right? You keep your eyes focused on the road. You set the speed limit to 65 and you rest your foot. You let go and you stay on the vibration or the frequency or the belief that, I'm going to get there, or money is available for me everywhere I look. Abundance is available for me. You will arrive to that destination, okay? When we talk about GPS, right, and this is what for me is quite interesting. Like I said, I drove to Canada not too long ago, and I put it on my GPS, my uncle's address, and that was it. I was leaning on the direction that my GPS was giving me. I didn't have to worry because I trusted that it was going to take me there. So this is what GPS is about. It's about vision. It's about clarity. The GPS doesn't care about the detours, right? It always will recalculate. You've had experience with the GPS. So let's say there's traffic ahead. It will find a way to help you arrive to your destination on time if possible, by recalculating the route for you. It'll tell you to go this way, that way, to avoid the traffic if there are no other paths, right? So you trust that no matter the detours it takes, it'll take you to your final destination. So that's how pretty much the universe really works. It will always recalculate for you if you trust it, if you ask it, if you believe it. The difference I always say between you and the person next door that gets what they want, and I've come to realize this later in life, but better later than never, is that the person that has everything, the only difference between you and this person is their faith or their belief or their self-concept. It's the same thing. Belief, faith, self-concept is the same thing. You believe in the outcome of whatever you desire, or you believe in yourself, or you believe that you have the mind to build this business. You have faith in God, or you have faith in your libation, or paying homage to your ancestors. You believe that this is what will carry you through or forward, then it is done unto you as you believe. It's in the Bible, it's everywhere, it's in esoteric books, so it's pretty much what it is. That's the difference between you and somebody who has everything. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand. Nobody explained to me to the core of the real meaning of faith and belief. I just thought it was something out there, just whatever, I would grab it whenever. But no, having this deep belief in yourself and whatever you want to accomplish or what you desire is what's going to give it to you. That clarity, that vision is what you hold on to, and you will eventually arrive at your destination or just, manifest whatever you want to manifest. When you put the destination in the GPS, let's say that, your dream house, your soulmate, or your 6-figure business, the how unfolds step by step. And there's no mistake about that. You decide what you want. Let's say you write it down on in your journal. You say, okay, I want to have a house. I've made a video, by the way, about how I ended up, traveling to Southeast Asia and how this trip was manifested without me lifting a finger. But the funny thing about this is that while I was on my trip, okay, I was reading back on my journal. I realized that I had put down that I wanted to go to Thailand and I wanted to go to Bali and stuff like that. And 1 year later, just out of, me not even trying or looking for any trip or anything, it was offered to me as a gift, right? I ended up in Southeast Asia. In fact, I ended up in Thailand, not Bali, not Indonesia, but I ended up in Thailand, in Malaysia, and in Vietnam. But just simply by putting it right there and really wishing that, I'm like, for a moment, when I wrote it down, it was at probably 2-3 in the morning, and I was like, I want to go to Southeast Asia. I really want to go and have some good food over there and meditate and meet people and so on, right? And then I kind of forgot about it, and then a year later, everything happened even better than I expected. So when you put down in your GPS, the destination, it will unfold for you step by step. It's what they call the bridge of incidents, will happen, good, bad, or whatever. You don't judge those things. You let them be, okay? And it will take you there. So if you miss a turn, it's not going to cancel the trip. If I had missed a turn on my way to Canada, it didn't cancel the trip. It just rerouted for me, right? It's like, okay, here, make a left turn and then get back onto, your destination. It's the same thing. It's like I ended up going to Malaysia instead of Indonesia. The whole trip wasn't canceled because one of my desired countries I wanted to visit didn't happen for me. Even better happened. I ended up visiting Malaysia, which was an amazing country, and then Vietnam. So, right? So this is the beauty of this GPS, the way that you put into the universe or the ether what you want, or you present it to God and you pray and you say, this is what I want, and somehow it will unfold step by step. You don't have to worry about the detours or the stops or whatnot. You will eventually get there. Just have to make sure that you keep your belief and your faith intact. Now I want to get into self-driving, where I like to think of it as trust and surrender. Self-driving. This is everything now technology is talking about. My alarm. So right now in technology, we talk about self-driving cars. The Tesla is a big one, trying to pioneer the whole concept of self-driving cars. People are still a little bit afraid of it. Some people are ready to embrace this technology. It's all amazing. This is where we are nowadays. And I want to relate it to manifestation, and you're going to understand self-driving for me equals trust and surrender. And this is the major part of manifestation: trusting and surrendering to the higher intelligence, to your higher self, to God, to your guardian angel, whatever you want to call it, to the luas, to the spirits, whatever you want to call what you believe will come to your aid, when you have this desire for whatever it is that you need, right? So once you've set your GPS, like I've said, and your destination, and you put your car in cruise control, and then self-driving takes over, and that's trust. That's the trust part. A lot of us have a lot of difficulties of how to do that, to really trust, to let go, because we're used to hanging on to what we know. We rely on the intellectual, we rely on the knowing, when people say, well, I know this to be a fact, and then you have this tendency to not want to let go. When you rely on the intellectual capacity, and this is what a lot of us humans we do. It's like we think that we know everything, because science says so, and then all of a sudden You feel like, oh, I studied the facts and I know. So then, therefore, as a result, humanity has a really hard time of trusting and letting go. I had this issue for the longest time, trusting and letting go. At some point, I had to force myself to let go and completely, trust the unknown. Because I was like, if I'm here by this, infinite intelligence that is making me breathe, that is making me walk, that is making the blood flow in my veins, so I have to trust that whatever I do here, it will work out. And that's what you have to do. And it's the hard part of manifestation. But I promise, if you let go, if you can trust, in a self-driving car, you can trust in the infinite intelligence to take you to your destination or to give you the desires of your heart. That is, self-driving is the trust, is the surrender for me. And how do you relate it to manifestation? I think I've already explained this, but I'll say this, right? Try to not micromanage the universe. You cannot micromanage the universe. No matter how intelligent you think you are, no matter how scientific you think you can go, I don't think you can set, or you can tell the moon, okay, now it's time for you to go full quarter or half quarter or whatever, right? There's no way you can do that, no matter how much you think you know. So micromanaging the universe is a big no, and it's impossible to really do it. So at some point, you have to surrender to the higher intelligence. It is just what it is, unfortunately. But if you stay aligned and you release control, things will happen, like I say. And I know it's hard for everybody, but once you do, you breathe, you let go, things will start unfolding for you. So opportunities will come in unexpected forms. I've had the experience. Not too long ago, I said, listen, I washed my hands and I went like this. I remember having, in a very, very vulnerable time for me and a hard time, and I was crying and praying at the same time. I was like, I don't know what else to do. I feel like I've tried everything. I did the best that I could, and I just don't know where else to turn, what else to do. And I just went like this. I washed my hands like Pontius Pilate. I said, I wash my hands. And at that moment, it felt as if, a weight was lifted off of my back, and I just went like this. I wash my hands. You do whatever you know is best for me. And that's how things started happening for me. And I cannot begin to tell you the beauty that is behind the self-driving concept, getting behind the wheel of a car that will take you to your destination no matter what, trusting that the car has no fault, and it is safe. The technology is very advanced, and it won't make any mistake. It will take you to your destination. If this can help you, just sometimes from time to time do this gesture. I wash my hands, infinite intelligence or God or the universe or whatnot, right? So now I want to talk about algorithm. Algorithm is quite interesting, and this is what we see every day. If you go on YouTube, the algorithm will give you something that you are interested in, or you happen to be watching often, and then, or social media is even better, especially on Instagram. The algorithm here on Instagram is quite interesting. No matter how much you want to avoid certain content, it just keeps pushing it towards you just because you watched it once, and all of a sudden it just keeps popping, to your face. So algorithm in manifestation, for me, is the same thing, and it equals the law of resonance. And and this is why I say that there is no way that AI is more intelligent than humanity, than us, because it was modeled after us. So there's no way that it's going to take over. So this whole idea of AI taking over, I do not believe it. It will take over if you give it the reins to take over. If you start relying on it more than relying on your own intelligence, then yes, it might. Nowadays people are relying on AI to to help them, come up with, I don't know, let's say that you want to write a letter to your boss about wanting to quit your job, and you want to rely on AI or ChatGPT to write it for you because you believe that it has better wording than you. Then there you go, it takes over. This is how it does, right? But if you rely on your own intelligence, and maybe you find a dictionary to help you, you don't have to rely on AI, or you don't have to rely on the idea that it will take over. So just like Instagram shows you more of what you engage with, the universal algorithm feeds you more of what you focus on. It's the same concept. The more you focus on something, the more it starts appearing. If you think about a yellow car, all of a sudden you start seeing yellow cars. Everybody talks about it. It is truly that. There's no magic to that. It just, the brain just is wired that way. That's why it's very easy to program your subconscious, or even your conscious if you wish, by focusing on what is it that you want to see, or just spending a little time on something will just start appearing to you. So if you repeat, the thoughts of lack, you will see more lack. If you repeat the thoughts of abundance, you will see more abundance. It's just as simple as that. If you believe, again, that you will find money, you find money, or money finds you, then you will start seeing it. For some people, it takes time. For some people, it's instant. In another video, I believe that that our thoughts are much faster than the speed of light, or even much faster than the speed of sound. And I really do believe that. And it's not something that I hear often people talk about when it comes to manifestation, but I really do believe that our thoughts are that instant. So a quick metaphor here: your focus is your engagement button. Whatever you click on to engage with on social media, that's pretty much, your focus. It's what your focus is. So make sure that you protect your focus, that engagement button, which is your energy, and do not give it so cheaply to content that will not feed you what you really want to see in your reality. So make sure you pay attention to that. I always say this: your attention, your energy is a life. It gives life to things, to people. It's your prayer. That's what is your gesture is. It becomes a prayer when you put fuel. By the way, the car, no matter what, will need fuel, and I'm going to talk about that next, right? So make sure that your focus, you understand that it is your engagement button. Do not give it just so cheaply to just any content creator or just anyone, right? So now an extra thing that I wanted to talk about, which I already just mentioned, is fuel. Your fuel equals your emotions, your energy, your vibration, your frequency. No fuel equals no movement at all. It will be flatlined. Social media will be flatlined if you do not give it your attention, your focus, your energy, your engagement button, right? It would just be flatlined. So think about it this way: you, the driver, you have to build your self-concept as the driver, as the commander-in-chief, as the intelligence truly behind this car. No matter how much we think that, yes, okay, it is self-driven, it is on autopilot, it is, it will take you to your destination, but never forget that you are also sitting in the driver's seat. So if you do not believe that you can get to your destination, you might not get there, right? It's the same thing as if you do not believe you deserve money, it may never come to you, or it will become like the hardest task that you will ever take on. So your belief, as a driver, when you get behind the wheel, you're very confident, right? So it's the same concept in this, physical reality here, is that you are, and you have been given dominion over everything material here. So you are the driver. So understand that it's your energy that carries everything here, that floats everything here, that makes everything come alive here. If your energy goes like this, then what is there? What is there to live for or to assist? So it's your energy that allows you to experience this physical world. So if your energy is gone, or energy doesn't die, it goes somewhere else, then it'll take it somewhere else. So it will experience another reality, right? So your energy right now, your focus, your engagement button is experiencing this reality. Once it moves somewhere else, then it experiences a different reality. So understand that if you don't believe you deserve something, you'll keep slamming the brakes like you're driving, right? So make sure that you're not slamming the brake every time. Okay, it disrupts everything. It takes your destination will become, instead of reaching your destination in 2 hours, then it probably will you will reach it in 3 hours instead. So make sure that you stay on that cruise control, that you trust the GPS, that you fuel the car with the right emotions, the right energy, the right frequencies, the right thoughts, the right words. And what else can I add to this, right? Well, let's talk about a little bit about like the road conditions, right? We can say, well, you're talking about destination, what about the conditions of the road? What if it's raining? What if there's snow? How can we get there on time? Yes, those things are circumstances that we may encounter, but that doesn't mean that we will never get to our destination. So the environment, right? The potholes that are on the roads. Well, God knows there's a lot of potholes here in New York. If you're from New York, please do let me know wherever you're from. And I also noticed in Canada there are a lot of potholes too, huge ones. But anyways, so the conditions of the road, the potholes, the unsupportive people, the detours, the pivots, and so on. All these things are possible circumstances that may delay your trip, right? And it's okay. It's okay. Your destination is still there. You will not lose, the goal if you keep on the road. You can, like I said, allow the GPS to offer you detours. It may take you longer, but you will still arrive at your destination. The maintenance, right? Energy hygiene is so important. Rituals. I love to talk about rituals. I do rituals. I journal. I do baths. I have done shadow work. I like to call it light work instead of shadow work. So all these things will help you keep your car smooth, right? You do an oil change, like they say. You put gas in the car and so on. You wipe down the windshield and stuff like that to help you get to your destination. I know I'm using a car analogy here, but it's just to explain to you the technology of manifestation. Really, it's not just in these machines, but it's really our life. It's just that they're trying to separate you from technology. But we are the technology. We are the infinite intelligence, or we are modeled, or the machines are modeled after infinite intelligence, which we are part of, okay? So the journey is also what is very important for you to understand here. Enjoying the journey, the enjoyment of this experience behind the car, the self-driving car, trusting that you're going to get to your destination, having the right thoughts about it, and understanding that no matter how many detours, you will eventually get there. It doesn't matter, because your goal is to arrive at your destination. So manifestation isn't just about arriving. It is about the signs. It is about the synchronicities and the small wins and the small wins, I want to say, are road trip scenery. When I was driving to Montreal, the whole ride, I was just enjoying the environment and how beautiful the trees were along the roads, and Lake George, and it was so beautiful to see. I didn't stop because I really wanted to reach there in 6 hours, but I stopped for fuel because I was really enjoying and listening to music and so on, and just feeling so thankful for being in this rich and beautiful environment. Guys, it's so important that you stay on that frequency, the belief that you're here in this, partaking in this beautiful ride, no matter what your eyes are showing you, but that everything is within. If you know that your destination is to, your goal, and you have a goal, you have a destination, you have a desire for something, for love, for money, stay on that frequency, knowing that it will show up no matter what. Okay, so your GPS, as a reminder, when I recap on this, your GPS is your vision, it's your clarity. The cruise control is your frequency. Self-driving is about trust and surrender. Algorithms is about the law of resonance. whatever you focus on is what's going to keep showing. Okay, it's what will resonate within your environment and your 3D physical reality. So if you want to manifest faster, just set your GPS clearly. Write it down or repeat it to yourself every day. I love to use the mirror. I believe my mirror is like my parallel universe, so I use my mirror for a lot of things that I want to see in my reality, and I see myself giving me these things. You can try it for yourself. If you can ask me more about that, I'll share more with you. So make sure that you set your GPS clearly, lock into the frequency of your desired reality, fuel it with the right emotions and energies and thoughts and words, and trust the algorithm, because it will give you exactly what you're focused on. The ride is already programmed for your success. Believe that. So now think about this. What is the destination that you're setting on your manifestation GPS today? Think about it. And if you don't know, just ask the universe, infinite intelligence, and I bet you will find your answer. All right, guys, thank you for watching. God bless you, and let's continue to prosper together.